karma is the same as fate? If you watch the Buddhism series, then you know the answer to that. And the answer is false. Actually, karma is spiritual cause-effect. It's just, as I illustrated in Buddhism, if I'm standing on the edge of a cliff and I step off, I'm going to fall. Whatever I do is going to cause a certain effect. Well, spiritually, that is true also. Whatever we do causes an effect. This particular picture here is hard for us to understand, but this is giving the idea of karma as a person fulfills the karma. If they're a priest, they would do the things of a priest. They shouldn't try to do something else. If a person is a warrior, they should do the deeds of a warrior and not try to be a priest. When a person fulfills their dharma, that enables them to change the karma. And the karma is what enables them to rise in the caste system when they're reborn. Let's look at another question. The Vedas are the most ancient scriptures and are considered holy by all Hindus. The Vedas. Is that true or false? It's true. The Upanishads are probably the best known ones that there are. The other categories are the Puranas, and then there are the epics. These are easy to find online. There'll be two that we'll be looking at in particular here in a few moments. The next question. For a practical Hindu spiritual guidance, the Bhagavad Gita is the most used book. What do you think? Is that true or false? You might have seen the Bhagavad Gita on a bookshelf before in a bookstore. I have. I never knew what it was years ago when I saw it. It had unusual drawings in the front. This particular picture that's on the screen right now is a depiction of the Bhagavad Gita. What do you think? True or false? This is one of the most used books. The answer to that is true. Now, the Bhagavad Gita is very short. It can be picked up online, and if you see anything that has a lot of pages to it, it's because it's got commentary. The Bhagavad Gita itself is very short, very easy to read in one evening. And the whole theme of the Bhagavad Gita is the importance of obeying one's dharma and creating good karma. To illustrate this, I want to introduce a person that you may have heard before, Dr. Robert Oppenheimer. And you may say, I've heard that name before. Who is he? What is he again? He's considered the father of the atom bomb project during World War II, the scientific father, the one who brought it all together. But it's interesting that when the bomb first was tested and exploded, he has stated that he said the following: "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." That's a frightening sentence, isn't it? Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. That particular quote is right out of the Bhagavad Gita. In a nutshell, the Bhagavad Gita is a story of a man who is in charge of a great army and a great battle, and as he looks on the other side, it's actually a civil war, and he sees people that he knows. Family members, former teachers, people he has respected. And this war has been going on for a while, and he simply says, I am just tired of this. I do not want to fight anymore. I want to end it. Stop. His charioteer, we will find out as the story goes on, is actually Krishna, who's in disguise. The warrior is Arjuna, and of course I just mentioned the charioteer is Krishna, who will reveal himself as the story goes on. And it's a very gripping and moving story of what happens. And essentially what Krishna tells him, you are a warrior. If you want to fulfill your karma, then you must fight. And he goes on and explains things how this is just a fulfillment of God's plan. And Krishna goes through this explanation how fulfilling one's dharma is the highest goal of any personal activity. What is interesting about this is that an American movie was made of this story but completely reworked into a sporting event. Some of you may have seen this movie. It is called The Legend of Bagger Vance. It's a golf story. It's about a man on the left-hand side, Matt Damon, And how many of you remember his name if you saw the movie? His name was Randolph Juna, which if you take the first syllable and pronounce his name, it's Arjuna. Bagger Vance, played by Will Smith, the one in the middle. The term Bhagavan is another term for Krishna. Bhagavan, Bagger Vance. For those of you who are saying, oh, you've just made this up, you're creating these things, not at all. Stephen Pressfield, who wrote this particular story, states exactly this very thing. The first time I saw the movie, I saw a lot of the philosophy in it, and I took a lot for just New Age philosophy. Later, when I read Pressfield's comments about the story himself, and I started reflecting on it, and then I read the Bhagavad Gita, it changed everything. Then I went back and re-watched the movie, and for those of you who have read the Bhagavad Gita, scene after scene after scene are a playback to that great epic of Hinduism. Let's move to another question. The caste system has 4 levels. The 4th is often divided into a 5th, which is now called the Dalits. Is that true or is that false? It's true. The 4 primary levels, the highest is priest, the second is warrior. You might be able to take a guess at the next one. The merchant. And lastly is the laborer. And then within the laborer, a 5th class has been created called the untouchables originally. They were also called pariahs before that, and then it moved to the Dalits, which they prefer being called. As I stated earlier, the Dalits within the cities do not have the same social restrictions placed upon them. But once you move out of that, it's absolutely frightening to witness. It's very easy to go on YouTube or just online in particular and find videos documenting the life of Dalits. It's absolutely horrifying because once a person is a Dalit, they will remain a Dalit until the day they die. And they are given the filthiest work, the dirtiest work. They're looked down upon, they're ridiculed, and the only way they can escape it is to fulfill their dharma, which is being a Dalit, doing the lowest work. Then when they die and reborn, perhaps they can move up to laborer if they've gone far enough. I remember one interview that I saw of a Dalit. His father, his grandfather, his entire family had been Dalits. All he did was the laundry. He and his family did the laundry of the village. Every day they'd go out and gather the laundry, go down the river, wash it out by hand, spread it out, fold it up, take it back. And do you know what they received for that? The leftover food from the other people of the village. That was it. So there's a caste system that is very powerful still in the country areas of India. Let's go to another question. The Mahabharata is known by all Hindus as the oldest epic known in literature. What do you think? True or false? That is true. In the 19th century, when British officers came to India, they were told that they wanted to understand the Indian mind, then they needed to read the Mahabharata. It's extremely long. In fact, the Bhagavad Gita is a small subchapter in this great, great epic. Additionally, it's about the size of the Bible and all the works of Shakespeare combined. So it's got some size to it. Now, Shakespeare is slightly larger than the Bible, so it's over twice the size of the Bible. It is possible to go online.